Okay. Okay, hey guys, we're back again this week. Lisa's with me today. We just got out of the incredible Burt Wonderstone. She's wearing sunglasses right now because apparently she can't take the sun.
It's really sunny.
Sure.
It'll be off.
That's the reason.
It'll be off. Thoughts?
What did you think about this one?
Like I said earlier, I felt like this movie was just a feel-good, very casual, just so-so movie. There's nothing too special about it.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I've seen worse this year, but well, yeah, I've seen worse this year, but it's like it wasn't horrible. I wouldn't say it was not like
it was just okay.
Yeah, it was just okay. It was kind of all over the place. I think if done right, this could have been something really interesting, but I don't think it really wanted to know what it wanted to focus on.
You mean in terms of the problems?
Well, it's like especially with the relationships they have in this movie, because it kind of keeps jumping from one to the other. Because the basic plot line you've probably seen in the trailer is Burt Wonderstone is basically a washed-up magician who works with his partner, who's barely in the trailers, played by Mr. Pink. And of course, it kind of focuses on their relationship for a while, and how they kind of struggle with each other because they've been working together for so long. Then they break up, and then he disappears for a good chunk of the movie.
Right.
Then it focuses on him and his rivalry
to Cambodia.
Yeah, to Cambodia, and then it talks about him and his rivalry with Jim Carrey, and then it kind of jumps from that to his relationship with Olivia Wilde's character, and then jumps from that to his relationship with his this mentor magician, and then it somehow tries to wrap back into friendship is so important when really Anton was barely in the movie.
Well, they reiterated the fact that they've been friends for almost 30 years.
True, but they don't really show it that much, because, for the good chunk of the movie, up till, the third act, they're not really on screen together that often.
I think it's because it's more of Steve Carell's character in terms of finding himself.
True, yeah, and we've seen that before in a lot of comedies. A lot of comedies explore that territory, but it's I'm not gonna say it was done horribly well. Well, Steve Carell, I like Steve Carell, but this is not his best work. Far from. But it's I'm gonna turn this off because last time I did that, the car battery died.
Oh, you mean last week?
No, when I saw Hansel and Gretel with Trey, I accidentally turned the air conditioning on for too long while I was doing the review, and the car battery died.
That's a side note.
Yeah, don't do that for a straight half hour. But it's I felt like it focused more on one relationship, or kind of really built that up. It could have been just a little more focus, I guess is what I'm talking about. So
you're saying that if he focused more on his relationship with Anton? Yeah,
I think if you focus on the relationship with Anton, or focus on with the what was the name of the mentor magician?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's Ray or something like that. I'll call him Ray for the sake of argument. But the relationship with him, I thought it could be something really interesting, because there are some interesting ideas here, what is it about magic that attracts people? What is it that makes other people want to be that kind of magician? How it's kind of twisted over the years.
So you think they could have, developed that more?
Exactly.
Right?
I think it just needed more focus. I think it jumped around a little too much.
So you don't know where exactly to, put your money on?
Yeah, pretty much, because it doesn't really know what it wants to be or who it wants to focus on. It just kind of jumps from here to here, and it just kind of expects you to go with it.
I feel like Jim Carrey's character was kind of the comic relief, and
they're all supposed to be comic relief, but
I think him especially.
Well, it's Jim Carrey's clearly having fun in this, so he was enjoyable in that. But the problem is his character is borderline psychotic, to the point of disturbing levels. There's part three-fourths of the way through the movie, and I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about. There's a part where basically Burt Wonderstone's completely washed up. He's basically doing someone's birthday party, which Jim Carrey's character also attends to. And he basically makes a point of hijacking his performance by doing the most insane, psychotic things you can imagine.
It just reiterates the fact that he is crazy. This is a kid's party, and he's, he's
already been shown he's been crazy up to that point. This is part where it just got cruel. Just you don't crush a puppy.
You don't put a puppy in another man's pants. That's the thing. You never do that.
It's I'm not saying it's a bad movie, don't get me wrong. I think it's better than the Rotten Tomato ratings given it so far. I think it needed more focus. I think it needed to know more of what it wanted to be and what it wanted to focus on. Is it about the relationship? Is it about the magic? What is it about? Because there were some enjoyable parts of this movie. I did enjoy seeing all the magic tricks and all that stuff. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Right.
But it's other stuff like that is I don't really, it just lacked focus for me, I think, is what I come down to.
I think the overall theme was relationships within people, and they just couldn't zero in on which relationship.
Yeah, which one they wanted to do.
I think it would have been really interesting if they put more focus between them two. You know, Anton and Burt.
Yeah, that should have been the core of the story.
Of course, yeah, because that was what happened. They broke up. You know.
Yeah, I think I agree. That should have been developed more, like, because it kind of ties back into that at the very end of the movie. Like, it focused on like, we did it, Burt, we did it, Anton, and stuff like that, and they hug, and that's supposed to be like a big moment. It's like, but we didn't really see the two of them together at all until like the third act.
Right, they were just in the beginning and in the end,
and then he just like completely disappears for a while until he comes back. I just kind of blocked your face there. Just,
oh, that's okay.
But yeah, it's like I feel like it focused more on that, or even if not Anton, if it focused more on him with like for the other magician, like the older magician. I thought that could have been interesting too, yeah. But it's like it jumped around a little too much. Like pick one or the other. You can't have four. It's kind of my
right. Well, I mean, with him and Wilde, it was more of like a side thing, like a romance.
Yeah, even that was kind of. I mean, it was. I liked Olivia Wilde in this. She was charming enough.
Right.
I mean, I have nothing against Olivia Wilde. I like Olivia Wilde. But I can't say anymore. Like I sound like a pig.
No, that's your opinion. Totally valid.
But.
Yeah, if they had just had more focus on certain relationships.
Like I don't think this movie needed a love interest. I think it could have easily done without it. Like that was an extra distraction, and since it has so much other relationships going on at the time, it did really feel kind of forced. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're both charming actors, so they managed to work with the best of what they got, but it wasn't necessary. You could have easily just cut it all out. You would have been fine. But yeah, I think you missed like the first 5 minutes. I think you're a little bit.
Which was that?
It was like, yeah, because I was actually wondering. Like, I walked in there, nobody in there. So oddly enough, the ticket sales suck for this movie too.
Well, it is Saturday afternoon.
It is a Saturday. The movie just came out last week.
Oh.
So that's a bit unnerving. I thought for sure I was gonna be the only person to go see this movie. Thank God, like 2 other people came in, and somebody showed up late.
Oh, just like 5 minutes late. I was 3 miles away. The beginning of the movie.
It's like it didn't miss much. It was basically like him being picked on as a child. That's one other thing that bothered me while I'm thinking about that. Is a lot of the humor. Do you notice it felt kind of mean-spirited? Like there's stuff with like basically, it's a lot of slapstick. A lot of people get thrown around, knocked in the head, and stuff like that. But it's like there's also seemed like to be a mean edge to it too. I don't know. The way that people treat each other, not just like the main characters, like treat other people, it just seems really kind of.
You mean the scene where they're like transporting the bodies?
Well, that's one. That's one example. I'm talking like even like the pigeon being deboned, like you see in all the trailer.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. It seems like part of it seems kind of cruel, and like Steve Carell's kind of hard to like for a good portion of the movie. In towards the final act, I still like, you're still a sexist asshole. And he's sexist in this too, which is kind of just glanced over, but it's like.
Right. Olivia Wilde didn't really do much about it. She just kind of took it.
Yeah. So it's like, are we just going to ignore this?
Yeah. No, I saw that. I was like.
It's like if someone's gonna make a racist comment.
But then again, there's so many things that there's so many issues that his character has to deal with that it's just one of those things, you know.
True. I mean, it's kind of the been there, done that storyline where the guy starts out as a jerk and then and then something happens and he loses everything. Then he kind of has to build himself back up and becomes a better person. It's a story we've seen a million times.
Right.
It's not to say we shouldn't give it a tribute to when it's done well, but I don't. Like Oz did it pretty good, for example, even though the acting was kind of so-so in that movie, but. Like this one, it did not really do it to a satisfactory degree. I mean, I believed how he changed during the movie, but it's like it was kind of hard to get invested with him to begin with.
Right.
A little bit.
the scene where he's like taking a photo of that girl, and then she wakes up and she sees all that. I think she sees that green screen, like pop up, whatever. Yeah, like the girl from Community is in this. Do you watch Community? Mm-mm. Okay. Well, there's a blonde chick that he brings up back to his room with the largest bed in Vegas. I did it again. And I was like, oh my god, it's Britta from Community. How weird that you're in this movie. There's a lot of kind of like characters like that. Like, yeah, there was actually.
Like that guy from April as Raymond was in this very briefly.
Yeah. I don't know his name.
Like the big guy who plays the pufferfish in Finding Nemo. I can't even do his voice because it's like that really deep masculine voice. I can't do it.
Deep masculine voice. Yeah, I mean, just in general, the movie was just, there's nothing too special about it. It was just okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel.
I would totally
I'd give it maybe a rental. I'd probably wait for it to come on Netflix, which you know it's going to. Jesus. Okay. It's like you can do worse right now. Actually, not really. Look at the movies like coming out right now. But anyway, like we got Oz, which is actually not bad. Olympus Has Fallen, which has actually gotten better reviews than I expected.
Have you seen The Creeds?
We're seeing that tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But yeah, I kind of wish. Oddly enough, Anton was probably the best character in this movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because he's the likable character. You kind of root for him because he's the smart one for starters. It's like he has all the good ideas, and you know what? The guy who plays him is a really good actor. Like he's always kind of plays that weird guy because unfortunately for him, he has kind of one of those weird faces.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing Boardwalk Empire right now, which is really successful.
Awesome.
So good for him. I'm glad to see him getting work. But it's like, I kind of wish there was more of him in this movie because like he's a good actor, and
his character was probably the one that had the most
sympathy for him. Yeah. But even then, like I said before, he kind of gets tossed aside, and he does kind of funny bit with the whole, like, he try to go to Cambodia.
Tries to do the right thing.
Like, he tries to do the right things, like, people need food and water, and it's like, I'm giving them magic. Which is, like, kind of funny, also kind of a little mean.
Yeah, like, one of the little girls starts trying to eat the box.
Yeah, I know, it's like, dude, that's kind of cruel. Now, it's like, granted, anything can be made funny if done right. But, like, anything can. Like, I think Louis C.K. is one of those comedians that actually kind of walks that fine line a lot of the time, where it's, like, pushing the boundaries and stuff like that. But other times, like, if you can't do it right, you probably shouldn't do it. Like, the whole, like, Jim Carrey's show is called The Brain Rapist, which is, like, are we supposed to find that funny because it says rapist in a non-realistic context? Or what's the joke there?
It's just mind-numbing, all the stuff he does. It's like, look how I can torture myself, and look how I can entertain you. And I think that's what adults are looking for, but kids, I think that's what the party was trying
to... Adults like torture porn? Well, wait, we have the Saw series. Never mind.
The scene where he's at the kid's house, where Burt's at the kid's house, I think, you know...
Like where he's like burning like happy birthday on his arm and stuff like that. It's like that's what the point is, like he's not being like.
That's not what magic is. Magic is, I think this is what the movie was trying to do.
And I think if it explored that a little more, it could have been really interesting, kind of exploration of what magic was and what it's become. I thought that could have been interesting. Granted, totally wrong movie to do it in, but like because magic is a fairly familiar term in movies, like you know, Prestige and The Illusionist and stuff like that. It's been done before, not so much as a comedy. But it's like, there's clearly stuff to explore there, and it's like, it should be explored, because it is very interesting.
And you feel like they didn't finish it. They didn't go
I feel like they introduced ideas, they didn't explore them. Like, I really like that part where Steve Carell meets, like, the older magician in the
scene with the salt, right?
The scene with the salt, and he goes, like, that sense of awe, that sense that you're feeling right now, that's why he became a musician. Like, I
wanted them to explore that,
like, that's interesting. Like, that's fascinating. They should have explored that more. It's like, if it kind of delved in the ideas of what it is to be a musician, or, like, fleshed out their, relationship with more, this could have been a really good film. Like, maybe not as a comedy, but it just could have been an interesting film in general. But it didn't really do that. It kind of like introduced it and just kind of left it dangling a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. If they had explored that.
Yeah, like maybe that's just me. Again, I kind of projected what I wanted this movie to be, which isn't really fair necessarily, but it's kind of like how I felt like when Green Lantern came out. Green Lantern's a great example of this, because I saw that movie and I got so mad because like Green Lantern's one of my favorite characters, and I saw what was there, and I saw that somebody at some point cared about this movie. And it's kind of the same thing with this one. Somebody had some good ideas and put them in this movie, but somewhere along the production cycle, things like either producers got involved or whatever, script changes, things just got all muddled up and got all over the place. It's kind of a repeat situation of that, where it's like, what could have been something really good and really fun and really interesting just fell flat. And just like, okay, it's a movie, but it's nothing you haven't seen a million times before. I mean, like I said, the magic acts are fun. I'm doing most of the talking here, aren't I?
Yeah, I know, I'm just absorbing it all.
It's like, I mean, a lot of stuff, like when they do the stage performance, stuff like that, that's really fun. Like, the finale in particular, even though, okay, spoiler alert, as usual, what happens at the very end of the movie, because this one I had a few interesting ideas about, was,
the leaves.
The leaves. What happens is when Anton goes to Cambodia, he finds this, like, leaf, this bullshit leaf that doesn't really exist.
That when you chew, you actually pass out. Yeah,
so basically what they do for the final act, so they have this magic big show, where as soon as they bring it up, you know exactly what's going to happen. Well, they get back together, you know, they have their whole hugging and crying it out and stuff, which was actually a fairly amusing scene.
Oh, yes.
And then they get back into the they get back later. He goes, "Well, what trick can we do to wow the audience, like so he can get back in business?" And when it's like, the girl's like, "Oh, what about the disappearing audience?" And he goes, "Oh, but we could never get that one to work before." It's like, oh, here we go. 5 seconds later, guess what happens? They get the lead from Cambodia. They convert into like a powdery, like a gas, and they basically commit act of terrorism on.
What I'm thinking is, for you to do that for every single act for 5 years. You are gonna be really ripped or really tired, either or.
All I could think of is like when the audience checks the time. Like,
oh yeah.
Like we got here at 7. Holy crap! It's like 10.
They must have had to adjust their watches or phones. I don't know. And then for them to transport them back, that's a good 4-hour show, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because that can't only be the trick.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about it too. I was like, bro, this is gonna take a long time. Someone's gonna call them out on this eventually. You're
gonna need more than 7 people to carry all those people.
The clear acts of terrorism is all I can think of. Burt Wonderstone and Anton Marbleton have become worldwide terrorists overnight.
Due to Cambodian leaves.
Yeah, and like, and with the Steve Carell thing, you're kind of and Steve Carell and Jim Carrey relationship, you're kind of expecting them, like, him to eventually one up each other or, like, get some kind of payback, which does happen, kind of. But only because Jim Carrey does like a really retarded thing, like drills a hole in his head, and that's basically his comeuppance for the whole movie. It was like,
right.
Like that's it? That you've been building this up for the whole movie, and that's all you got?
Yeah.
Because like 2/3 of the way through his movie, he makes a point of basically torturing him, like mentally, like with the kids show and at the bar and all that stuff. He basically makes a point of being like the biggest jerk to this guy, just basically picking on him. And the best we get is he drills a hole in his own head.
I don't know, I think it's pretty crazy.
Well, yeah, it is crazy.
I'm not saying it's the craziest act that he's done, but it's pretty damn crazy.
Well, my point is, like, with all that build up, they're making their relationship, I kind of expected to deliver on it just a little bit more than they did. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of expected, it kind of like personally one-up him, not for him to do some other retarded stunt and basically defeat himself.
Well, that was it. That was the thing, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I thought it was just a little anticlimactic.
Oh, okay.
It's like, you could have done more. That's... I don't know why I did
wanted
that.
More.
I wanted more. But
so, it's getting pretty hot on my side.
I'll turn on the air conditioner a little bit.
But anything else to say about it? I mean, pretty much...
Yeah, it's like, there's really not much to say about it. Like, it could have been something interesting, it could have done more, it just didn't. That's really what it comes down to. It's like, it's just a meh comedy.
It was just okay. It
has comedic talent, the writing's not there. I talked about trailers, but you weren't here for you and X-Lane missed those. You didn't miss anything good. Then we got The Host, which Stephanie M. Meyer movie.
Oh, right. Saw that trailer yesterday on TV.
Which we're not seeing that one, by the way. we have two terrible movies that come out that same weekend. We're not.
Oh, okay, we're not wasting our money.
No, we're going to see Temptation. That's a Tyler Perry movie. Loads better.
Oh man. I haven't seen a Tyler Perry movie in a minute.
Well, at least it's not Medea, so it's a step in the right direction. Although it has Kim Kardashian, so I'm a little worried. More than a little worried. But yeah, we're finally getting introduced to the final member of the review team on that one. Finally, after over 2 months.
Kid lives in San Francisco.
What?
Kid lives in San Francisco.
That's true. So we'll get him on there on next week, and then we got the Croods tomorrow. Grant's agreed to do that one, and Raj will probably join us for that one too.
Yes.
So, and then after that, oh yeah, we got next week's kind of a big weekend. We got G.I. Joe, which we're gonna check out. We got Temptation, we're gonna check out. Maybe we'll do 1 or 2 more depending on how the schedule works out. But G.I. Joe should be fun. I hope. But
isn't Schwarzenegger in that movie? Or am I totally thinking of a different movie?
You are totally thinking of a different movie.
Oh, okay.
I think you were thinking Expendables.
Oh, alright.
No, G.I. Joe has Dwayne Johnson and Bruce Willis.
This is preceding like the G.I. Joe that they released a couple years ago.
It's kind of a sequel, kind of a reboot from what I can tell. It's kind of like...
Kind of a sequel, kind of a reboot?
They did that
one or the other?
They did that with Ghost Rider.
Oh, terrible movie.
Oh, I love the Ghost Rider movie. Nicolas Cage is hilarious. Don't knock Nicolas Cage.
So, what we're saying is watch the movie, but...
Wait for it on Netflix. That's my best suggestion. Where it's cheap, and you don't
Dollar Box.
Yeah, Dollar Box, that too. It's like, if you really want to see a Steve Carell movie, you can do better, but if you absolutely want to see it, you can. I don't really recommend it, but it's up to you. So
number scale, what would you rate the movie out of, you know, quality, characters, writing?
maybe a 5 if I'm being generous.
6 for me.
Okay, so I really give scores, but I'll make an exception that one time, just the one time. All right, but I think that's all we got. So yeah, take it as you will, and we'll see you all tomorrow. So.
Bye.